With day one at Bathurst completed, it's time to do a quick update. The big news so far this week isn't something that's actually happened on track. It's that Red Bull has recommitted with 888 for another 3 years. Don't let those doomsdayers off the book faces, interwebs, say that everything is dying in this category. When a blue chip sponsor like that recommits for that period of time, things aren't probably as bad as what you might read on the Insta books. Speaking of kind of liveries and sponsorships, there's a few new looks for the race weekend. Groves have got a kind of copper look to the cars. I'm actually really impressed with this one. I reckon it looks better than the normal livery on the cars. Better than the one at Sandown as well. Really impressed with this one. My big question is though, does it constitute as like a new special Bathurst livery? Because as we've seen in the past, no one with a special livery has won Bathurst. So that shoots my hopes and dreams for Tanda winning a sixth. But definitely I would love to have this car in my model collection if they do somehow manage to get a special livery across the line. We've also got a new look for Declan Fraser's tradie beer car. Apparently they do a beer. They did have a different livery at Sandown. It was garbage. This is a little bit better, but it hasn't really jumped out to me. It's not one of my favourites. There's the Petronas wildcard of Aaron Love and Jake Kostecki. I was surprised that we didn't see Petronas on the car for Sandown, so everything's fixed now. Doesn't look as good as the Super 2 car, I don't think, but it's got that kind of BLM 2020 Mercedes kind of vibes to it. And the final new livery for the weekend is the Slade and Jonathan Webb Premier car. They've got sponsorship there from Movember. I do like, and once again, Jono Webb was very good with this when he was running his own team, bringing light to some of these charities and doing a bit of activation for them over a race weekend. Car, it is what it is. It's okay, but yeah. As for the track running, well, the Supercars kicked it off with the Pit Stop Challenge. Once again, BJR took out the victory. It was an all BJR affair in the final, seeing as they have the 4 cars with 2 pit crews. They got both of their crews into the finals. The A team had to take on Groves, I think it was, in Heat 1, and the B team had to take on 888 in Heat 2, and the A team came up successful against the B team, not surprisingly, in the final. It was pretty close. The Groves didn't have a good run in their final. 888 was very, very close in theirs, and then the final was pretty close as well. Then we had Super 2 running. James Masterton first to find the wall, and then Zach Best came out with a very impressive 2:05.5 by the end of the session. That was a really, really hot lap, let's say that. But then Aaron Love in the second session, he was going hard. Like, he nearly got the wall a few times and bettered the time with 2:05.4. And the notable thing, I suppose, in practice 2 there was that Ryan Gilroy in Super 3 clouded the wall quite heavily across the top. Not sure it'll be a big repair overnight if we do see that car for the rest of the weekend. As for the main game, the first practice session, it was fairly straightforward, kind of expected. 2 Erebus cars in the top 3, Probably the big surprise was Matty Payne in second position. The other ones to keep an eye on, Reynolds was in fifth position, and Scott Pye, the big surprise there, in sixth. P2 was where it kicked off a little bit. Dean Fiore making a little mistake about 10 minutes into the session down there at the final turn, ran into the barriers and caused a red flag. Quite a little bit of damage to that car, surprisingly. Didn't look like that big a knock, but there was a bit of damage. Didn't get back out for the rest of the session. They ended up in last position. There was a few little mistakes during the session. Tander ran off, Jacobson ran off. There was a couple others, a little bit scruffy, but no one did hit the wall. The big surprise of the section, Kai Allen, fourth in that one. And Tander was second. So maybe the parity fixes just swapping the drivers around. Dave Russell ended up first. Those Erebus cars looking really, really strong. Not surprisingly, Perkins was the slowest of the four Erebusians. He ended up ninth in that session. Not far off the pace. But that Kostecki Russell car is it's looking very, very strong there. The three Triple Eight cars were right up the front there in the co-driver session, even though the main guys were a little bit off in their session. But it's hard to know who's doing what, whether they're really having a crack or just working on race setups at the moment. So tomorrow afternoon with qualifying will be where we really see everyone's pace. I'll do another update tomorrow afternoon. Everyone talking about how hard the cars are to drive and there'll be mistakes, blah, blah, blah. I think everyone will have it kind of dialed by Sunday, and we'll going off today, I think we might see a couple of crashes during the day, but I think we're going to be in for what's looking like a pretty interesting race, and I think it's going to be a big fight between the Erebus and Triple Eight guys right now, with probably the number 26 and possibly the 25 right in the fight there. Too bad Di Silvestro isn't quite on the pace of Kai Allen, because maybe we would have seen a DJR car. It'd be interesting to see how high up he can lift that car during the day. Obviously, no talk about the parity stuff today. The Fords did not get their update. I could be here for hours if we brought that up. And the big thing for tomorrow, please, Supercars, clean the lenses on the cameras. Even there at the end of the day, there was still some big smudges on a couple of the cameras on the telecast. I'm not going to, I don't want to put up with that for the whole weekend. But just how good do the Gen 3 cars look cruising around Bathurst? I do. Bathurst just always looks good, but these cars look even better. My excitement is building, as you can see. But until tomorrow night, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.